Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the book.
You covered 12! I covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
Hey guys, how are you? What is up? Welcome into another episode of the Bostonian versus the book. Dave Sharapan, the book, Matt Perrault, the Bostonian. We are live on YouTube and Twitter at Boston versus the book for those accounts. Live or replayed rather on Sports Grid TV and Sirius XM channel 159 on a little bit later than normal. Dave had an appointment and then he headed on down to Circus Sports. We got Mike Blewett coming up here in a couple of seconds on a variety of things, Steelers and the Patriots and college sports and this restructuring. But how are you on this Wednesday, sir? Yeah, Wednesday, right?
It's still Wednesday.
Yeah,
it is still Wednesday. Yes. It feels like Thursday, but it's not.
Does.
We'll know Thursday because we'll have a Thursday night football game that I guess we'll get to talk about. I don't know what we're going to talk about. It's going to be a very short conversation because it's your team, my team, Patriots, Steelers, where we're from. Not where we're at now. We're in Vegas.
You guys just win, please. Just win. Just please win.
I don't know.
Please win.
Can it go over?
It can go over. I don't care. Just please win. Steelers. I need 9 wins for the Steelers, and I'm very concerned about 9 wins for the Steelers. So I need to get them over their 8.5 win total. This is 8. You win this. This is 8, and then they win one more game the rest of the way, and we're good.
I would say if they don't win this, that win total might be in jeopardy.
100%. That's why I just said please.
Just win. Just win. All right, that's fine. Yeah. We'll have Blewett to ask a couple questions about that. The Steelers, he's a Steeler fan, and he was there with his kid not too long ago. So I think good seats will be available tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be a big crowd there for that game.
Bigger crowd, Heinz Field on Thursday or 2 p.m. Vegas for the in-season tournament game 1, Bucks versus the Pacers.
I think just because there's more seats, there'll probably be more people at the Steeler game.
Oh, no. I mean, like open seats. Though. Who has more open capacity?
Oh, well, that's going to be close. There's going to be a lot at both. Milwaukee and the Pacers, a 2 o'clock start on a Thursday in Vegas. Yeah, we might be there. There's a possibility that I might shoot down there. I don't know. We discussed that today. I left Circa. That'll be my favorite thing about today, which we do at the end of the show, every show. So we'll save it for that. But I don't know, man. This we got to ask Blewett questions about this college thing too. That was a really good discussion we had yesterday with B-How. We'll continue that today before we get to all the usual banter.
So, okay, Mike's here. So why don't we'll just go?
Yeah, just get him in because he got to go at the 50, I think. We only got him for like 15 minutes.
Okay.
Because I screwed up the time because I started late.
It's all right. Yeah, places to go.
Hopefully he's got the terrible towel over his shoulder. That's important. We gotta have the Pittsburgh representation. He does it.
One Mr. Mike Lewis from Sports Grid Television joining us here on the Bostonian versus the book. Mike, Matt, and Dave, how are you? Thanks for coming on.
Feeling great. I got a little bit more than 15 minutes, Dave. I'll give you like a solid 20. And yes, the terrible towel is here. Excited for Thursday night football tomorrow. I'll be the positive one on this stream saying what a contest it's going to be. Mitch, Zappy, get pumped. I'm fired up. 30.5 is the total. I don't think we're getting there, but maybe it'll be exciting.
Kicking props. You going to dive into the kicking prop market or anything?
Boswell over. Let's do it.
So bad. Bad.
Mike, Ryland, is anybody going to be at the game?
Ryland under, Boswell over. Let's parlay it. Let's get excited.
Oh, God. You went to the game not that long ago.
I did. Fun.
With the boy. It was fun, right? That was your first Steeler game ever, right?
It was. Because I've been doing this for so long, I have not really been able to engineer a trip over there. I didn't go when I was younger, and I regret not having done it sooner, but we had a great time. You're saying there's going to be a lot of empty seats, and I know it's not going to be a banner day for attendance, but Steelers fans show up. It's a Thursday night. What else are they going to do? I mean,
I hope so. I hope you're right. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the Patriots perform in prime time, because they've been able to do this, giving up 10 points and losing 3 consecutive weeks, not in prime time. So it's been kind of under the radar screen. Like, we're watching it, we're talking about it. Football fans kind of are, but now we're going to get forced to watch this. Oh, yeah. If I give you a team total of 7.5 for the Patriots, over or under points scored for the Patriots at 7.5?
I'll take it over, because Mitch is quarterback on the other side. You're good for a red zone pick, at least red zone on both ends of the field. So Mitch is going to set you up with an easy 7 at some point.
Would you use, if you still had a survivor entry left, would you use this? You can't use the Steelers, right? This week? No way.
This is a toxic game.
Oh,
completely in every.
I thought you were the positive one, Mike. You said you were going to be the positive one.
Well, listen. I gave you about 60 seconds of positivity. Now it's reality, and this is a toxic football game tomorrow night.
Someone just said that Mike Tomlin should be fired if he loses this game tomorrow. Would you concur with that?
Of course not. I mean, he's pulled the rabbit out of his hat in a lot of other games, and I know they were terrible the other day, but their starting quarterback got hurt in the middle of the game. Right. There's not a lot of teams that just bounce. Oh, no problem. Let's just get our all-pro off the bench and come in here and seamlessly pick up this game where we blew a goal line series and the other team went the other way, 99 yards. It changed the game whether Pickett was in or not, and then you were asking Mitch to take over. And it was a tough spot.
Before we get to the college and the NIL and all that other stuff, which it's one of your areas of expertise, I wanted to ask you about the college football playoff, because me, you, and Wetzel had a very spirited discussion about the 4 that got in and the 1 that did not. And you kept telling me they weren't playing good, Dave. They shouldn't be in, Dave. Yeah. And, with a little bit of time to reflect, can you at least see the Florida State argument? I mean, maybe they did get it right and they got the best games, but you're to understand the business end of this. This was a business decision more than anything.
Okay. Yes, but I will say that any one of the 3 of us can talk out of both sides of our mouth on this if we wanted to, and be right and wrong at the same time. Florida State did get screwed. They did earn their way in, but they weren't playing well. And there is obviously, since this is a gambling focused show, we both know that they'd be at least double-digit underdogs to the other teams that are in the playoff, plus Georgia too. But the irony of all of this is that you could call it the 4 most deserving and Florida State is screwed. Or you can call it the 4 best and justify the fact that Florida State is out, except for the fact that, Dave, you and I were texting last night because I wanted to just test the waters as to what these lines would be. If it was really the 4 best, Georgia would be in and Washington would be out, probably.
Right.
You can make that argument how you want.
Right.
But Georgia and Bama are 2 of the 4 best teams. So what is it? The reality is everybody's talking out of both sides of their mouth. Nobody's right. A team got screwed because there wasn't enough spots. And it doesn't matter how you want to justify it, but there's an easy counter argument to everything that's being said. I think they got it right only because that was the 4 that I came up with that I thought they would get. But it isn't the 4 best, and it's not the 4 most deserving. It's neither.
Right. I agree. But I think there is a problem. There's an issue that cannot be explained by the committee. And I agree with you. You talk out of both sides of your mouth. And I think they have the 4 best teams in terms of the criteria that they came up with. That's conference championship, with which why Washington's in over Georgia.
Correct.
But they put Florida State number 4 in the poll after they saw the injury to Jordan Travis. They then at the end put Florida State above Georgia in their final rankings. You can't square that circle when you win and you're undefeated. And then you say, well, we want the best teams. You put Florida State, who has not been playing well, and you kept them out because of Jordan Travis's injury, but they're better than Georgia.
Correct. I agree.
That makes, you can't get around that. The committee can't get around that because they even admitted to ESPN.com, an anonymous committee member said that we just didn't think they could win the national championship. Mike, that's not how we do sports. We don't allow people to think about whether or not you can do something. We get to see if they actually can do it, right?
I agree. And they're worried about a blowout, which we saw in the national championship game last year. We might not see a blowout like that for a long time, at least in a national championship game. I do think I've always thought, now it doesn't really matter as much, but I've always thought there should be a premium on the conference championships. So I understand why Georgia is out. That's why I don't mind Georgia being out. It isn't fair to Florida State. They're the team got screwed. I don't think Georgia got screwed, but they are one of the 4 best teams. They didn't win their conference championship. Tough. I understand how difficult it is to win the SEC championship game and that they haven't lost a game in 3 years before the other night. But that's just, in my opinion, I think you need to win the conference championship. I hate that Alabama won a national title without even winning their own division years ago. I don't think there was any way to square that either. But you're right, Matt. There's no argument that you can make. It's a circular argument that nobody could prove to be correct. If they had so little faith in Florida State, why are they 5?
Why were they 4 without Jordan Travis?
Correct.
I mean, it's just that I don't think they belong in. But my frustration and my anger is that in sports, we don't allow people to sit around a table and say whether or not you are deserving. We go watch it and see whether or not you are deserving, because there have been plenty of times in the history of sports where we've seen teams. I mean, heck, we talked about the Pac-12. I mean, Washington, by the numbers, should have been out, should have gotten killed. Yep. They were 9-point dogs. They won the game outright. They were dominant over Oregon at times in that football game. So that's my issue. The fact that we're going to 12, does that allow the committee to go, whatever, because it's now dead? We'll never have this topic again.
Probably to some extent they can justify it that way. I do think some of the committee members feel sick over leaving Florida State out, but you could have stood on the table for Florida State if you were going to be so sick over it. We'll have the same silly arguments we have about the basketball tournament next year, where teams number 13 and 14 will hate the fact that their teams are eliminated. And, we're going to be talking about 3rd and 4th and 5th place teams arguing to get in. And then we'll be arguing about seedings. Why do we have to go on the road there? And why did this happen? The injury thing, there is precedent for it. It happens every year in the basketball tournament. As far as the 12-team tournament next year, I think everybody will forget about it, and we'll have the same silly arguments about seeding next year. The only thing that worries me is the conference championships. If they continue forward year over year, the juice is taken out of those games, other than us talking about it on these shows. Let
me ask you this from a business standpoint, because obviously you're heavily involved in the business of college athletics. Sure. Dave and I talked about this before, because a quote surfaced, I think it was late last week, that the college committees, the conference committees, are seriously considering that, look, if we're going to play 12 for a playoff, that means we're playing 12 games in the regular season. We're playing 13 games for our conference champion, then 3 more games potentially to go and win, because we're talking about the buys, but there could be teams that will make the final playing 16 games, essentially. Yep. Do you think the conference championship game could be in jeopardy?
Yes, I think they are seriously considering eliminating it. I never start sports argument. I think sports arguments that start with, well, we should eliminate some games, end very quickly, but there's usually ownership involved in things like that. We should cut the NBA season down. Well, don't tell that to the Phoenix Suns owner, because he's not giving up any home games unless you make up the money for him. In this instance, there is other money to be had, and huge corporate sponsorships like we saw with Dr. Pepper all weekend that need to be under consideration. But if they can make up for that conference championship exposure within the playoff tournament, then I think there's an appetite for it, because I don't think teams will want to see their conference commissioners will want to see their teams damaged by conference championship games where their higher seeded team loses, when it didn't really mean much anyway. If they could have just not played that and moved forward as the 1 seed or the 2 seed and earned a bye, I think there'll be an appetite to get rid of it. But again, the money will have to be the same or greater once those conference championship games are eliminated.
Mike, speaking of appetites and games being eliminated and all this other stuff, as a distinguished Boston College alum, SMU's playing Boston College at Fenway Park.
Correct.
It's called the Fenway Bowl in Boston.
Yeah.
1, are you excited? And 2, can you believe BC's in the game? 1, 2, they're 11.5, Michael. Toast.
I mean, SMU's better than BC this year. BC, when they were at 6-3, was one of the worst 6-3 teams I've ever seen. They do not have any pass rush. Their quarterback, Thomas Castellanos, is an incredible scrambler and playmaker, but completing passes at a clip of around 57, 58%. don't have a lot of breakout players on the receiving core now that Zay Flowers is in the NFL crushing it. It's it's going to be a run heavy game. They'll try to take the air out of the ball. SMU does have some previous 4 and 5 star athletes that are making big time plays for their team. I think SMU is a lot better. Yes, they have to go on the road, deal with the cold, but we'll see. Maybe BC can slow it down and take the air out of the ball and make sure that SMU doesn't have it as much. But I don't have a lot of high hopes for BC to win that game, even though it's 3 miles from campus.
Yeah, and nobody's going to go 3 miles from campus, and no one will be.
If you're not in a suite, good luck.
No one's going to Fenway Park to watch a freezing cold football game. I'll reiterate, bowl games should not be played in cold weather places. New York, Boston, get out of here. Anyways, so let's talk about the business of sports and the business of sports through the college NIL and what the former Mass governor, Charlie Baker, now the head of the NCAA, is proposing through an onion that's got like 18 different layers to it. This is a very complex and difficult conversation, but let's try to boil it down just a little bit more than what we talked about yesterday. The NIL is revolutionary in college football, the name, image, and likeness. 500 players are currently in the transfer portal right now. That's a record. Football.
That's just for football.
Just for football. There are 500 players who are out there, and essentially they're shopping, saying, how much money are you going to give me to show up at your university? If this becomes under the purview of the colleges and not the collectives, is this good? Do you think this would be, is this better for the player? How does this change college sports if the universities and colleges are the ones negotiating NIL?
Got it. So to your point, Matt, there are many layers to this onion, not all of which we can get to on this show. It's probably a 3-hour show just discussing all of the things that he put out there yesterday. And unfortunately, some of the things that I think Charlie Baker put out there are contradictory, but the goal is to create a subdivision, particularly for high Division I football, that allows for them to operate a little bit differently, particularly in the areas of NIL and licensing deals. A key point about the licensing deals is that up to this point, many of the licensing deals were player focused, and the schools were not able to assist players with those licensing deals. Think of jersey deals done through the player name, so the player name can be sold. So the jersey with the player name can be sold, so that some of that money goes to the player. But it was also creating issues with the school because you're using school marks as a player in order to monetize. In some instances, the players were not compensating the school or the marketing firm that arranged it for using school marks, or the school was shutting it down. It was becoming very complex. I think everybody knows about EA college football game coming back. They had to delay it another year because it was too complicated for them to work out all the individual licensing deals in time and who's in and who's out and what do we do for former players. It's impossible. In fact, FIFA, the FIFA game that everybody plays on PlayStation, EA, they no longer are doing licensing deals because of the 140 European teams. It got too complex, so they just said, forget it. We'll just go without the licensing moving forward, and we'll call it something else. So it's not FIFA anymore. That mirrors this in some ways on licensing deals. What I would say, Matt, is the thing that concerns me is, and Dave, the thing that concerns me is, take my alma mater, you mentioned it. They have 272 scholarship athletes. I looked it up earlier today for the purposes of this show. And Charlie Baker is proposing that each year, BC, in this instance, would have to, through a trust fund, pay $30,000 per, and I'm just using the scholarship athletes. That's the only thing I can handle right now. If we're talking about non-scholarship, that boosts this number enormously. That would mean that in every given year, BC would have to put in, if we use 272 as a number, full scholarships that are awarded, $8.16 million each year into a trust fund. I can assure you that schools like BC and others throughout Division I do not have a surplus right now of $8 million to pour into an educational trust fund for those 272 scholarship athletes. So it starts to create all over again the haves and the have-nots, and what is the deficit for this particular school. UCLA, guys, had to leave to go to the Big Ten in part for financial security because they were $100 million in debt. UCLA.
Isn't it? Hold on, isn't it? And maybe I read this wrong. I thought it was half. It was $272. It was $30,000 for half.
Fair point. For at least half. Yes.
So let's $4 million that BC was put in. 4.1.
Right, fair enough. So, okay. But that's BC. That's right. My bad on that.
Okay, I want to make sure the numbers are just as we get the numbers. It's still a lot of money.
Correct.
But $4 million, BC might be able to swing $4 million versus 8. 8's a lot.
Fair point. But that's just for the educational trust fund. That one component of it. This doesn't bring into all the other support that comes with it. And there are schools that have more scholarship athletes. UCLA, I think it was over 300, and there are some that are probably along those lines as well.
The problem with it is they can put 30,000 is the minimum. If I'm Alabama, I can put 100,000 in per if I want.
That's right.
I can put however how much money I want to put into that trust fund. There's a minimum number, but there is no maximum.
Correct.
There's no salary cap.
And the thing that I keep butting up against, only because I know this fairly well and have run into it before, is I do not know how you square that with Title IX. Right. And when you're creating, there's some stats I've read earlier today. There are, I'll bring it up for you. There are 50 schools, I have to find it, that there are a really small number of schools that are spending between $50 and $100 million, right? So in fact, Ohio State. Yeah,
Yahoo Sports said there were 59 Division I schools that have basically $100 million plus athletic budgets, and everybody else is spending less and way more. The vast majority spend less than $25 million on their overall athletic budget.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. 59 spending over $100 million, another 32 spending over 50, but 259 Division I schools spend less than $50 million on their athletic programs, and many are spending just as little as $5 million. That's probably a lower end basketball school, no football, but Ohio State spends $225 million. That dwarfs BC, who's been a Power 5 for a really long time now. And BC is not the type of school that could move into that 59. They'd be right on the edge potentially. But what does that mean? What is Rutgers and Maryland in, and Northwestern and Vanderbilt out? The one thing he did say is it is going to be a school decision to move into that division or not for football. There are still so many questions, and Charlie Baker spoke in Vegas today at the Intercollegiate Athletics Forum. So I'm curious of what some of those questions and answers were. I imagine the questions were softballs, but some of the people in the audience might have asked tougher ones. There's a lot of power players in your town this week talking about everything college football. So it was
strategic. To pick you up at the airport. Get here tonight. I'll pick you up.
It was strategic for him. It was strategic for him to release it yesterday, so he could get this out on stage and really do it as a press conference. Very political move by him. Obviously, he's savvy in that way. But yeah, really good questions, Matt. There are still many more questions than answers. I think he's got the right idea when it comes to creating a new subdivision. We've been talking about it in college athletics for at least 10 years. And the fact that we didn't make this move after the latest round of realignment was disappointing, but I think we're pointed in the right direction. I just don't know who's going to have the budgets and frankly, whether Title IX can be adhered to under this proposal. I just don't see it.
Last one for me, and we'll try to get you out of here quick. It's two-parter. You said softball questions, and I was thinking Title IX. You kind of already addressed it, but I got 3 daughters. I coached all these kids that are going on to play softball in different places, and you start to see it's a lot of inequity in that. But Matt's concerned about the basketball tournament, and he said when we talking off the air, he was like, "You know what this means? What?" And I was like, "Well, it means 100 things. What do you think it means?" He goes, "The end of the NCAA tournament." Can you see that? Like, is that if this actually gets executed? I mean, that's a lot of people's favorite thing every year, qualifying for it and then playing it. It could go away. Is that possible?
I think what I would be concerned about, Matt probably shares some of this as well, is the changes that we saw to the NIT, where it became just an invitational and not any real way to qualify for it. I think you could see some of that start to bleed in, where this is just a true power invitational and not 32 conferences qualifying to make the tournament. The NCAA would be wise to obviously hang on to that in its structure, because it does create really interesting Cinderella stories in that first weekend, but people ultimately want to watch the power teams play each other in the Final 8, Final 4 anyway. So it's sad, but I think it's something to keep an eye on because it could become more of an invitational, by the way, to go full circle, not unlike what we're going to watch on New Year's Day and January 8th, a little bit more of an invitational than it was a true qualification for a top 4 in college football.
Last one, Mike. The future of this subdivision, the idea of breaking away, say 59, 50, 40, whatever it might be, as they tend to move away. This is football driven. What happens if we see, what does that do to the non-money generating sports at these universities? Like, what does it do to like Miami softball or Oklahoma tennis? Like, how does this go if they're going to be shifted? Because does that mean there's more money going to be available for them with scholarships and we'll see those programs flourish? If the SEC baseball programs can do full rides for 25 guys, what does that do to those sports if there's more money being allowed to be spent by the bigger programs?
Yeah, it could allow them to flourish. I've been of the opinion, and this may not directly answer your question, that I think we can be in a situation where if football can travel all over the country, and let's just call it men's ball and even women's basketball, what is the point of maintaining, say, Rutgers to play UCLA in softball? Why don't they just regionalize it and have it make more sense so Rutgers could play BC in softball and UCLA can play Pepperdine, even though they're not part of the same conferences? I think that makes more sense. I think it takes some of the burden off of the athletic departments from a cost perspective. It makes more sense, but I don't think people are going to listen to logic. To your point, Matt, the coffers can be as full as they want if you find the right donor like John Ruiz in Miami. He can just fill the coffers as much as he wants. One complication, I'll still use LSU as an example because we keep talking about football. The 3 most popular athletes, well-known athletes on LSU's campus right now are the starting quarterback, a gymnast, and a women's basketball player. So why would the backup quarterback at LSU end up making more money than Angel Reese or Livy Dunn? I mean, nobody's making more money than Livy Dunn right now, but Angel Reese, why, or the next Angel Reese, why would she make less money than the backup quarterback at LSU just because he was a 5-star recruit who maybe couldn't cut it at the SEC level?
Right. Mike, great stuff, man. Thanks for the time. Appreciate you
coming
on.
Michael.
Thanks, guys.
We'll do it again soon, right?
Yeah, take care.
See you, brother.
That being one Mr. Mike Blewett from Sports Grid joining us here on the Bostonian versus the book. Hold on one quick second. I'll get everything squared away. I don't mean to ask you this on the air because Kelsey at school today?
Yeah.
You may want to call her just to go ahead and you may want to take a second to call her.
I think she's on her way home.
She's on her way home?
Pretty sure.
Okay. She's off campus?
As far as I know.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Okay.
Not to alarm anybody, but there's a report of an active shooter at the campus of UNLV.
Now?
Right now. Yeah. It's confirmed. It's not a joke. It's real. So just my phone's blowing up. I get alerts from the school, from UNLV. So this is not a test. Police are responding to an active shooter. Run, hide, fight. Run, hide. Yeah. Run, hide, fight is the tweet that I just got. So sorry to do it on the air. Just want to make sure where she is today.
Okay.
She's on her way home. We're all good. That's for the best. But if you want to jump out, I can hold it. If you want to jump out and make a phone call, just let me know.
All right.
So while that was going on, I was trying to
holy crap, really
see what was going on the campus. So yeah, so that's today. That's the world we live in, unfortunately. I was trying to figure out what BEH was, and it's the business school, the business school building. That's being reported for that. So yeah. So I don't, sorry to alarm the audience. It's just something I wanted to get to Dave ASAP versus texting it to you or
I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go make a phone call. I'll handle it while you go. So yeah, that's just the world that we currently live in, unfortunately, as much, but because I am a teacher at UNLV, I'm a professor there, that I do get information like this that gets sent to the faculty about what's going on campus. And clearly something of significance is happening on the campus at UNLV at the moment. It's not one of those things where I was looking while we were talking to Blewett, I was looking on social media just to see because I got the first report at 11:51. So that was at the beginning. Yeah. So second, university police continue to respond to an active shooter on campus, continue to shelter in place. So there's been a shelter in place order written across UNLV. So not good, but I teach there. Dave's daughter is a freshman there. So when those things happen, we tend to, we say this is about life. And yes, the show is about life. And these things are real life situations that are going on. And you can't go look at this online. It's just, again, I'm part of this text alert system being a professor that it tells everyone what's going on and how this is happening. So hopefully everything's going to be okay. And this is going to be handled quickly by the police, but it's clearly not, this is not a drill. They keep on saying this is not a drill. So there's clearly something happening at the moment on campus at UNLV that is pretty significant and serious. So once Dave gets back, hopefully he can get a hold of Kelsey's daughter and we're all good. She hopefully is driving back from school and she's not on campus at the moment, but it is if you guys don't know where UNLV is located, UNLV is directly in back of the Strip, and it's on a part of it's an urban campus, so it's the middle of the city, and it's on a place where there are some things that happen that are absolutely nothing to do with university, nothing to do with school, and you can get access to the school pretty simply from just driving in. And there's been things that I've seen that have happened that are not university related, so even though that is a huge problem in society, obviously, with students and violence and guns, it could be something that's totally not even related to the university, and that's what happens. So it is a scary situation that obviously you have to take care of whenever this is going on. I wanted to make sure Dave was aware of it to get a hold of it fast. So someone just sent me this question and I can actually ask her it. So the question for you, Matt, how much do you trust KenPom? So I've been hitting on the discrepancies, doing really well, but I know you've had KenPom much longer than me, and have you ever had experience with it? So if you guys don't know what KenPom.com is, KenPom is a guy Ken Pomeroy, he started this analytically before I would say most of us really were heavily into analytics. There was a website back in the college football days college basketball days rather, called collegerpi.com. College RPI was, if you're old, you remember the RPI index was used a lot by the committee, the selection committee, to say, okay, who is of worth to the committee to be considered for an at-large bid. The famous case was Missouri State when they were left out. They had at the time, they had the highest RPI before they scrapped it. They had the highest RPI of any school that was left out by the selection committee, kind of similar to Florida State in a way. But Missouri State didn't win the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. And Barry Hinson, who went on to do other things, including coaching, I think he might still be at Southern Illinois, but he went to Kansas and then went to Southern Illinois as the head coach of the Salukis, was just crushed. He was on national TV. He literally had his hands in his head and he couldn't believe what he was watching, because I think they were 21st in RPI and they got left out. KenPom was in the same iteration where he started to run analytics, and nobody really knows the weighting system that KenPom uses, but it's very similar to what the sports books run for their own models, and they tend to come up with the same numbers. I'm getting text messages, sorry, from people here. Yeah. I'm getting text messages from students of mine right now. What's going on with this? Yeah, there's definitely something going on right now. This is not good. They're asking me if I'm on campus. Yeah, so sorry. I just got a text message. Okay, that person, one of my students, is not there either, but they just texted me and said, "Are you on campus?" I said, "No." I said, "Good, I'm not either." Okay. So the alert, it's clearly, this is clearly going around. Yeah, there's a lot of craziness going on at the moment. So sorry. As I'm getting just real-time alerts from people who are on campus at the moment. I'm trying to figure out what really is going on. But clearly, if I'm getting text messages, people are saying, "Where are you? Are you on campus?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not on campus." There's definitely some stuff that is not good. Okay, it's posted on the UNLV Twitter account, I guess. Let me go look at this real quick to see. Obviously, Dave is trying to effort to get a hold of his daughter. Let's see. Official Twitter account, and yes, okay. There's been multiple text messages to this. So this is the latest of which came out 3 minutes ago. Continue to shelter in place, active shooter on campus at the moment at UNLV. So we're not seeing, man. Okay, I'm not gonna put out rumors on the air, but this is not good. The things I'm seeing on Twitter at the moment, it's not. If what people are posting is correct, this is not good. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's not what I wanted to see on Twitter. Everything okay?
She's on a hard lockdown. She stayed for a study group. She's at the library on the top floor, locked in the top floor of the library right now. So,
okay.
I can't get no other information. I told her, obviously, keep me posted as we go here. That's just crazy.
Do you want to scrap the show?
No.
You good?
We're here. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't go down there.
No. The whole university's on
right.
lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go anywhere.
No, but she's on the top floor of the library, and I said, don't move, stay close, and
so let me see something. So she's at the library. Okay, so that's not the one benefit is that she's not close to where that's going, I don't believe.
Right.
Because the BEH is the business school, is what?
You know what's crazy is that we're so, I mean, like for me and you and anyone our age, this is like, heart-stopping. This is like, for these kids, they're on hard lockdown. It's too normalized.
I would agree with you.
This is like, she's just like, we were hanging out and they said there's a shooter or something. So we're on hard lockdown. We locked the door. What?
I remember when Madeline came home in kindergarten and said, Daddy, we had our first active shooter drill. And I said, you mean fire drill? She goes, no, active shooter drill. I said, in kindergarten?
Yeah.
She said, yeah, active shooter drill. My daughter at kindergarten knew what the words active shooter was. Like, that's just not right. Like, I'll never be okay with that. Like, there's no, I understand that that's part of the training that has to be done. But every year, they do fire drills now. She's in 4th grade now. They do fire drills. And she's like, yeah, active shooter drill today. Like, it's nothing. Like, it's nothing. Like, it's just a normal part of, how you and I grew up with fire drills. Right. Oh, fire drill. Okay. Hey, we get to go outside. Everyone just kind of active shooter drill. Get under our desks, flip the desks over, barricade the door. Don't let anybody in. So, yeah, while you were gone, I was getting text messages from current and former students of mine asking if I knew anything and asking where I was, if I was on campus today. Right. So, again, there's, people are going to write.
All right, hold on. I'm going to take this call.
I'll take that call. Go right ahead. Obviously, go take that and see what's going on here with this. So if you're just joining us, you're like, what's going on? I teach at UNLV. Dave's daughter is a freshman at UNLV. This is just one of those situations when real life comes over, you're on live TV, and when a loved one and a family member is obviously on campus right now, locked down, as Dave mentioned, his daughter is in the library on campus. And by what I'm seeing from the reports that have been sent out from UNLV, this would be at the Beam Hall on campus, if you know UNLV. So that's the business school that it looks like the reports are coming out of that. But again, this is all very murky. This is all very, again, it's a very urban campus. There's roadways in and out. I teach in the Greenspun building on campus, which is right by Maryland Parkway. You go deeper onto campus, you get into the library, you get into the different, student unions and the things that UNLV has on campus. And, I appreciate the university sending out these alerts so everybody knows kind of what's going on. But the library, where Dave's daughter is, if the reports are correct, the library is, a pretty good walk away. Although it's a campus, you can walk freely around. So once we have more information, we'll let you know on this. But until then, let me go back to what I was talking about before about KenPom. It is remarkable how close KenPom's numbers can be to the book's numbers. And when there is a discrepancy, that yes, there is a way of betting. There is a way of actually taking and making money on that. But you got to be careful because these are opening numbers versus the line move. So like if KenPom is at, say 150 tonight for Marquette in Texas, I think KenPom put it at 148. Is what KenPom. The opening number was 148. That number has been bet to 151.5. So like who's right? Is the move right or is KenPom right? So you have to do your own research. You have to, do your own thought process. You can't just blindly follow KenPom. You can't blindly follow anything. You got to take all that information, put it together, and then come to a bet that you're feeling comfortable with. So like, let's play this out just for tonight, right? So we're at 151.5. KenPom's at 148 for Texas at Marquette. These are two of the slowest teams in college basketball. They're both over 200 for pace of play. You have a number that's up to 8.5 for Texas. KenPom has it as a 7-point game. So you have a 1.5 point discrepancy there, and you have a 3.5 point discrepancy with the total. You can do what you want with that. You can bet that if you want, but you have to realize, okay, wait a minute. Is it better to bet the under? The move might be wrong. If KenPom's right, the move's wrong. That the game's going to go under because of really slow play. Shaka Smart's defensive effort should be outstanding today up against his former team. Or maybe the line moves right. Maybe the bettors are correct to say, okay, this game's going to go way over. It's 148. It's going to fly over. So again, line moves not always right. The North Carolina game last night, that number crashed. It flew over. Live was 172.5 at one point. So you have to just do your own thought process. KenPom is a tool. It's not the end all be all. Like anything else, it just has to be there to guide you into how you think the game is going to go, and then make your bet based upon what you think, not what other people are telling you or what the numbers say. I use KenPom all the time. I think it can be profitable, but tonight's a great example as to you have to make your own determinations as to what's going to happen. Anyways, you okay?
Yeah, she's stuck in the library.
Okay, not a bad place to be. To be honest.
Apparently it started in the math building where she was in the first period. And she went to the library to study and finish an English paper or something. And she just got off the phone with Jess. Jess just called me. We can't go down there. So we're going to try to stay calm as parents and wait for her to get the all clear. But they're active when nobody's moving. She said she looked out the window and could see the shooters.
What?
So
plural?
2 is what she just told us. There's 2. I don't know, dude. I don't know what's going on. But talk about always forward, never straight. You get curveballs every day in life. I mean, everybody does. I was just down at Circa before, just talking to the boys and the girls about Linda and her being gone. Good mood, come home, do the show. What? Active shooter. So we had to get Jessica out of a meeting.
Man, I was hoping that was going to be fake. Because
There's nothing fake about it.
It's happened before where there's been a shooter, but it's been like a gang related thing on Maryland Parkway.
Right.
That spilled onto the university.
Right.
So by what I'm hearing, what you're telling me that's not, this is an active shooter on campus.
I just got off the phone with Jess and, she said, I heard sirens in the background while she was talking to me and she's, okay, well, we're on high alert. That's what we're doing right now. I was at Penn State in college. There was a shooter. 2 kids got killed. And I had been home, but I had walked by where it happened. I was at the Cosmo when there was a shooting. That was the day I met Pat in Portnoy in person. It was a March Madness. 2017, I believe it was. Somebody shot someone out in a bus right in front of on the strip and then came into the casino with a gun, and we evacuated. And now my daughter is at college, 18 years old, on a hard lockdown. What is going on?
Metro Police reporting multiple victims at the moment.
Guys in the chat, keep me posted what's going on. I'm trying to stay calm and realize, like, this is therapy for me. I don't want to cancel the show because what am I going to do? I'm going to run around like a maniac. I've been walking for 3 or 4 days. I woke up today. I think I got plantar fasciitis in my left foot. I can't walk. My heel is killing me. So I'm not going to sit here. The little one's home from school sick. I can't even tell her. I pulled the older one into the garage and I said, get a hold of your sister right now, please. She's got trainers and stuff that she works with that are UNLV adjunct professors like you. Everybody's trying to get in touch with everybody right now because he teaches in the morning and does training in the afternoon for kids. So, I mean, this is I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is. This tell each other all the time.
I mean, this is everywhere. This is worldwide now.
Why is it not on the news?
It is.
Hold on, put it on.
I mean, it's all over the Review Journal. It's all over. I mean, this is worldwide. This is everywhere at the moment. Beam Hall. Yeah. Like I mentioned, it's right. It's by Beam Hall, which is, the business school, Frank and Estella Beam Hall, which is, basically in the heart of campus for this. So, it's further inside of campus than where I go. Dave's daughter is in the Lead Library, which is, further away. It's away from where this is happening, but it's still not far. I mean, the campus is not that big. But just from what I'm seeing from the things I'm just on Twitter, just looking at the video, and
I ain't getting on social media right now. It's the last thing I need to do.
Yeah, you don't need to. Let me do it. I mean, I work there, so I can see it. I can see what's going on. It's on MSNBC, right? I guess now.
I got on channel 13. Active shooter at UNLV's Beam Hall.
Yeah, that's so.
What's that? The business school you said?
Yeah, that's the business school. It's so like where Kelsey is. She's in the library, so she's a little bit of a walk away from where this is happening. But that's the problem with active shooters. Who knows where they're going and who knows what's happening. So, but being in a building is better than being outside, because the videos I'm seeing, there's police all over campus. Like there's SWAT all over campus. And, so this is, they're telling everybody to get shelter in place, but like every police officer in Vegas is headed to the campus at the moment.
Right.
So it's going to be, why today? Today's the second to last day of classes, or third to last day of classes. Friday is the last day of classes.
It's never a good day for this.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just trying to figure out, like, no, I'm just like, sometimes like there's memorials, or there's like days, or like 9/11, or there's days where you go like, okay, but this could have been the last. If the person was targeting a professor, it was the last day. It's Monday, Wednesday classes. This is the last time you would meet with class. So, yeah. Thanks everybody who's sending messages and whatnot. We'll do our best.
Yeah, phone's blowing up now. It's out. Like everybody's.
Yeah,
I'm getting. Johnny P is. I don't even know if he's at work, but the guys at DraftKings just got an alert.
Yeah, so Maryland Parkway now is shut down, which is the main throughway.
Right.
Here. And Yeah, this is college in 2023. You know, ABC News is on this. NBC News is on this. So the only thing we have is an active shooter situation happened near Beam Hall on the campus of UNLV, where I was supposed to be in, 3 hours. The one thing I learned by this, okay, that I won't read, when we went through the shooting for the Route 1 shooting, the police radio was wrong.
A lot.
Okay. So there are reports that would be beneficial saying the shooter has been taken down. But, I don't trust anything like that because, well, it's, as we learned, we had multiple victims being reported all over the city when it was going on.
That was a crazy night because it was a Sunday night. A lot of people that I know were closing books and stuff. And people said they ran into our joint here, covered in blood, and people were scared and people were this and people were that.
Never happened. Something never happened. I distinctly remember reports of the shooter in Paris.
Right.
There was never a shooter in Paris. There was only one shooter. Yeah. So but people were walking in bloodied. And so people were panicked and people were so scared. They were calling 911 and all the reports of this, reports of that, reports of this. And they just on the radio, they're just letting all the information out all at once. They're not trying to be accurate. They're not trying to report it like on the news would. They're just trying to tell the police, look, we got reports of all these things going on here in the city. This is what's going on. So again, if you're just tuning in to us, this is why this is a very different version of BvB. I am an adjunct professor at UNLV. I go there every Monday and Wednesday. I was supposed to go there today for my last, open session with my students. Dave's daughter is currently on campus in lockdown at the library right now. The reports are that things are calming down, but in the aftermath, the numbers I'm seeing on social media will not be good. Like this is traumatic, horrific, and just disgusting on so many levels as to what has happened to the UNLV family. This is something that I have loved to death to do. Excuse me, that's a bad word. Excuse me. I've loved the opportunity to do it. It's been a pride of mine to be a teacher at UNLV. And there are so many people who I know on campus that I am thinking of at the moment. I teach in the Greenspun building. This happened at the business school, the Beam building. I've never been in the Beam building. This is the first. My time is pretty much. I go to school. I come back. I go there. I come back. I don't spend a ton of time on campus, but I love the campus. And this is going to take a lot of parents. You're one of them. This is going to hurt. This is going to be tough.
Well, I don't know how to make sense of this. She's a really, you know her, those of you that have met her, she's a good kid. Like, she got such a big heart. She cares about people. The discussions when she comes home, I can't wait to hear this. She just went to finish an English paper at the library. Rather than fight traffic after class, she said, I'm going to sit in quiet and finish my paper. And she's hiding in the library right now. None of it makes any fucking sense. And I'm already thinking she's going to come home and say, I want to go to Creighton. I want to transfer. I want to get out of here. I want to this. What am I going to say? No, you got to go back there tomorrow. Or
no, they will close campus for the week. No one's going to campus for a while.
I know, but when we had the sports book got robbed once when Linda was working. She was closing the book, her and this guy, Derek. Somebody came in, robbed them at gunpoint, took all the money. It took a week for her to come back in the building. They're like, you coming in for your shift tomorrow? Shift tomorrow? No, I'm not coming in for my shift tomorrow. Just to walk through the door and turn the corner, just everything, the PTSD thing is real for a lot of people. We got guys that served in the military and did this stuff. I don't know how to make this make sense to an 18-year-old.
So now, the report from from UNLV and from
RTC Nevada. It says Maryland Parkway, University Avenue closed to Tropicana.
Yeah,
Swenson University Drive closed to Tropicana to Flamingo.
Yeah, they added shots fired at the student union. So now it's moved from, this is going towards where I work. So in between the business, the Beam building, is student union, and then Greenspun, where I work. So they went from the Beam business school into the student union, where literally you have 100 kids who are just there. Student union is a place where you go to eat, you go to study, go get coffee, and then there's a huge courtyard. And it's a pretty nice day outside, so people probably were outside.
It's a beautiful day here today.
So a lot of people were on campus. A lot of people were outside. So now it's getting...
Huh.
Yeah.
Quick update from Kelsey. Said she's still in the library, not moving. Okay.
Good.
So that's good.
Good. Yeah. Just, yeah. Look, guys, I appreciate everyone sending me DMs and messages on Twitter and everything else. Thank you. I mean, I'm not on campus. Obviously, I'm here, so I'm not there. But
yeah, I just got two. They said, "Is Perrault on campus today?" I said, "No, we're doing the show right now."
Yeah.
Sign on.
So I appreciate
try to talk and have a
discussion as to what, but it is a we have had these conversations on this show. And when it comes to your life and it hits home, you start to get more and more angry and more frustrated, because the answer to all of this is hands up. Like our daughters are trying to go to school. Like that's it. They're just going to school. And this is happening on campuses. It consistently happens. And we just move on to the next story. 6 months, a year, but the families who get impacted by this will never be the same, ever. And students who see this will never be the same. Students who go to this campus will never be the same. This is like, we have to figure out a way as a country. And again, I'm not smart enough to figure this out. I just know that we have to have these conversations, because this is at least the third time, Dave, we've had this conversation on the air.
Right.
That we've talked about. And we always say it can't just be whatever. Well, this is my job. I'm one of my many jobs. But this is my job. That I'm going to go to this campus, and like, it's going to be. I told you this. I had a run-in with a student this semester. I went and asked my professor, my bosses, what's my protocol?
Right.
I asked, what do I do? And they said, just basically, if you don't feel safe, get out of wherever you are. And I'm like, I might be in a classroom. I can't go anywhere.
Right.
Kid comes at me. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Like, these are the thoughts going through my head as to what might be going down.
Right. Instead of like, did they hit the out cue at the right time? Did they hit the subject matter within the 60 seconds? Can I grade this an A or a B? No, I got to worry about a fucking upset kid who didn't come to class is going to come at me and blame me because he didn't do the work. And none of it. That doesn't make any sense.
That's where I was. That's where my mind instantly went to this, going, all right. So if that were to happen, I remember walking. This is how fucked up life is. Okay, here I'll give you guys a little look in my life. I was walking to campus on Monday, the Monday after it happened, Monday after I had a run-in with the students, and I walked into my room, and there were two girls that were sitting in the room. They're there early for class, and they were by the door. And I said, I need to ask you guys a favor. And they said, what? I go, if my back is turned, and the name of the student, if he walks in, I need you to yell at me and tell me he's here. And they were like, why? It's like, just not a big deal, but I need to know. Because in my brain, I was walking in thinking that I'm going to be at the board writing things down. This kid's going to walk in and shoot me. That's real. That's honest. That's me being as real can be.
Right.
I didn't know. When I walked in that day, I didn't know. And I asked 2 students to watch my back for me in case this kid came in. Now, luckily, nothing happened. And I haven't seen the kid, haven't heard from the kid, nothing. So, like, we're all good. But, like, students shouldn't be thinking that. Do you want to take that?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what that was.
Okay. Students,
scam like
professors, people, like, we shouldn't be thinking about this when we go to work. Just shouldn't be. This should not be on the topic of us going, what is going on? Should it be, how do we handle this?
Right.
Okay. So they've completely shut down the area. Yeah, politicians are all tweeting about this now. They've closed northbound I-15 from Tropicana to Charleston.
Wow.
They've closed down the whole strip. Basically, that whole area now is shut down. So
they can't get out.
Yeah. So
right. They can't get out.
They must be hiding. So there's nowhere to go.
It's crazy.
They're shutting
the instinct right now is to get in the car and go find her.
Do you want to?
No, I can't. Okay. What am I going to do? I can't make it worse. I'm going to go like a maniac driving around trying to get her out of there and grab her friends or whomever. She went by herself. She's down there just literally needed a quiet place to finish this paper. So, I don't know, bro. I don't know. This. Ay. Crazy. What in the hell? They got these they're interviewing kids on the local news now, talking about, we heard 4 shots, we heard this. Told by faculty to get out. Huh. Jeez.
Yeah, look, guys, in the chat, do me a favor. We don't need to go political. The beautiful thing about this program, Dave and I talked about it last night. The chat is as welcoming and warm of a place for new people to come in as possible. So, look, I know it's really, really easy to go political on this and to flip it. And this is the real world. Okay. I love working in the toy department. I don't want to work in the real world. This is when the real world comes blasting into our lives.
Right.
Because Dave's daughter is involved and my employer is involved. So obviously this is where our brains are on nothing but this. So we're trying to get through this as much as possible, but don't go at each other on this. Okay.
Yeah. Now's not the time, fellas.
I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you're going to vote for. I don't care where you are on the Second Amendment. I don't care on any of this crap. It doesn't matter. It doesn't solve anything at the moment. Okay. That's for the future. Okay. We'll worry about that at a different time, but not here. Okay. We're never going to do that. That's not what we do. Okay. The beautiful thing about the brigade is that it can be all walks of life, all races, creeds, religions, sexes, who you love, who you like, who you date, who you're with. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Right.
We want to be as welcoming and open for anyone and everyone to be a part of this. And look at the number of states across the country that we have for people who are watching and talk to each other and have a community based upon sports. And these are the things that test that. Okay. These are the things that will start to grate because it becomes real. Please try to just hold off on it if you can. Like,
right.
Not today. Like, really not ever. But not today on this.
Yeah, it's not. Everybody's got their own thoughts, things like that. That's the beauty of the sports and the gambling. We can be completely divided. Penn State's playing Maryland today. Maryland's a 7.5-point favorite. You could say Maryland's going to cover. I could say Penn State's going to cover. We can go back and forth. The game's played and it's done. That's the beauty of sports, and it's settled on the field. None of that other shit matters. None of that matters today. That's for sure. I'm not worried about who anybody's voting for, who did the right thing, who's going to do the right thing. The right thing right now is to get everybody out of that school with minimal damage and safe, and then let the person that did this or persons be punished. And I don't know. Again, something has to be fixed. It's not going to be fixed today. It's not going to be fixed in the chat. It's not going to be fixed right now.
Okay, there are I'm waiting for somebody locally to confirm this, that the shooter or shooters, one may be in custody and one may be dead.
Oh. Okay, that's good news.
Okay. Well, if that's true, this would be huge.
Huh.
Hold on. So I don't know. This is from. I need more. I need more before I say this. Okay. So Las Vegas police update: one suspect has been located and is deceased. Here's the question, and this is what may end up happening. Okay. So let me just again reiterate this. This may not have been on campus. Okay. So we need to figure out where this was and how this went on. Because like I mentioned before, the real world of that environment around the campus at UNLV sometimes spills onto campus at UNLV.
Right.
So was it a student that went on a shooting spree, or was it somebody who's involved in some other illegal activity, some other gang-related issue that may have been gone down that could have just been on Maryland Parkway or spilled over into the parking lot?
Oh, okay.
So we'll see how this all, not that it's okay. I'm not trying to justify one way or the other, but I think from a parent standpoint, a teacher standpoint, I think so many people are afraid of, you're going to school, somebody walks in with a gun and they're going to go ahead and start shooting their fellow classmates versus somebody who may have been in some dispute and they got into a fight. I don't know. I'm just saying we don't know enough right now as to what is going on, except that there was a shooting on the campus or in the area of the campus. And I mean, it looks like either the person's been detained, dead.
Couple guys in the chat, and thank you guys for the update.
Here is hold on. Here's Las Vegas Police Department. Breaking: suspect is contained. This is an active investigation. Please continue to avoid the area and watch for responding emergency units. That's from the Las Vegas Police Department's official Twitter account. So they have the suspect is contained. Now, what does that mean? Alive, dead, doesn't matter. But the police are saying that the person they suspect of doing this is in custody or has been dealt with.
Wow, they got everybody down there. I just turned. They just.
Oh yeah, they have everybody down there.
There's helicopters, man. The day there was that shooting at the Cosmo, I mean, we got evacuated, and I saw things that, I couldn't believe. There were black cars and Suburbans with blacked out windows that basically came out. They might have been missile launchers for what I saw. And I was like, where did these people come from? Where are they going? And they were in position in like 4 minutes. And I was standing out on Dean Martin going, where do you want us to go? And they said, go to Aria. And we ran to Aria and sat in a room. They fed us a meal. And then we waited 8 hours, and they said, all right, we got them. You guys can go back to work. Well, I walked back to the Cosmo, and they asked if I would stay for the night games. I said, I may never come back. What the fuck are you talking about? I just ran. Oh, you think I'm worried about the drawer? What are you talking about? I'm going home.
Right.
Right now. You count my drawer. I had like $250,000 in the drawers. I'm leaving.
Okay. Las Vegas Police Department. The suspect has been located and is deceased. So the person who was doing this is dead. Who are they? And then the aftermath of it, all still to come. I mean, this is what happens on social media. People start writing all sorts of crazy things about what is going on. I hope everything I'm reading is wrong. Very much appropriate. I hope it's wrong. But we'll see what the aftermath is now, because it sounds like it's no longer an active shooter, but we'll wait for the all clear to come. That has not been sent out yet by UNLV. So it is still a shelter in place situation. I think the police are going to be extremely cautious with this to make sure that there's nothing else going on.
Right.
But it sounds like there was a massive response by Las Vegas police to this.
There's always a response. That's good. But there's got to be preventive. That's
we're waiting.
A massive response before. So there's less and less of this. Why does it seem to be too normal? This is 15 minutes away from our house. This is where you go to work twice a week.
My mom.
My daughter goes every day for class.
My mother now is freaking out. So
right. Yeah.
My mom just found out.
They just ran the 5K there on Saturday.
Right. Yeah. So the questions about how did this go down and who is this? We don't need contained is a very interesting word. Deceased is the other word being used. So, but
how hard is this? And now that, we're doing, this is journalism. We're doing a show, news journalism show, I guess right now, not just talking.
This is not even journalism. This is a straight fucking reaction time.
This is right. But how hard is this to do?
Well, it's impossible because it's
professionals. Like we have a personal. This is our house. This is a home game. This is.
I mean, if this was a college that we didn't have as big of a tie to, I think it might be a little bit easier for us to move off of it and be like, "This sucks. We'll keep you up to breast of what's happening. We're moving on." Like, this is more than close to home. This is directly impacting us. We are families impacted by this right now in real time. So that's the difference, I think, to just start talking about sports. Not that easy to go and be like, sure, it happened. Sure, the guy's down, but until you're here, your daughter's in her car driving home.
Right. I just told her, I said, don't move until anyone tells you to move.
Right. And then let somebody come on up and do an all clear for you. And then she can get in her car and drive home. And then everything's fine. You're like, okay, we're all good. Yeah. Okay. We have to wait and see what the impact of this is going to be. Whoa. They full out. My goodness gracious. They rolled out the full SWAT team.
That's what happens.
Yeah, they rolled out. I'm looking at a video right now. I mean, they rolled out armored.
I ain't looking at shit right now because I'm getting madder and madder and madder, and I'm trying to,
I mean, if you're going to the airport,
tough, but she's 18 and she might be scared, and I'm sitting here trying to stay calm, not wanting to go find whoever is doing this, and
he's
trying
dead.
to get my daughter and just make sure. So
yeah. Well, hopefully there's only one, and hopefully he's been dealt with, and then we can find out why this person was doing what this person was doing. But if you are watching this and you are somebody who is headed to the airport or headed to anywhere around the Las Vegas Strip today, you're not going to have much success getting you anywhere near it. It's by all reports that you're basically people are just parked on the Strip, and they're parked on Tropicana, and you're not moving. So that's the most busiest intersection in the state of Nevada.
Right. I was just going to say, there's not enough traffic and stuff going on.
It's the biggest, most trafficked intersection in the state of Nevada. And
you want to talk about Mama Bear right now, her whole day stopped. She was in a meeting and she saw me calling and she saw Kylie calling and was like, what's going on? So, her workday stopped, and they're over there at their office because there's multiple people there with kids that go to schools and stuff right around there, have people that work in businesses right around there, and there's nothing, everybody's just waiting to hear from whomever that's could be there. I just got a text from Cardano thinking of you guys. Is everything okay? It's getting around.
Yeah, it's everywhere at the moment. And my guess is we will tell Sports Grid to not run this show, to just run a different show in place of this, just because I don't think people need to relive this and think about it's actually happening in real time. That would be a little scary overnight for people to listen to this.
Right.
Because it's an evolving story. So my gut.
Yeah, they'll know the facts by the time this runs.
We
literally don't know no facts.
It would be easier just to let, hey guys, play we're on replay anyway, so go ahead and play a different thing. We'll obviously post this show, will be live on YouTube and Twitter.
Right.
So you guys can rewatch it if you want to rewatch the show. But I think that there are things that happen. We live our lives on the air with you guys. It's one of the things that you guys tend to love about what we do.
Yep.
And we feel like this is an opportunity for us to sometimes get unfiltered emotion out. And we just tell you the truth as to like, this is how we're feeling, and like, no bullshit. Like, no, we don't want that, like, blank face stoic, like I'm fine stuff. Like, so when this stuff happens, we're going to kind of give you the real deal here. You're going to see the real reaction as to what we're going on. And while we're talking to Blewett, I'm getting an active shooter text from the alert system at UNLV. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. And that's why I was like, you may want to go call your daughter.
Glad you told me.
Yes.
Because I didn't know.
I just figured I just want to give you the option. I was like, you may want to just call Kelsey and see what's going on. Because I was hoping you're like, oh, she's coming home. Like, oh, good, great, we're all good. Then you're like,
well, no, normally she is. That's that's why when you said that, I was like, all right. And then we went. And today she stayed at school to do that paper. Like normally she'd already been home. The morning classes would have been done. So I don't know, but yeah, wow. We're gonna get the press conference. We're gonna get this.
Is that coming soon?
I don't know. It says expecting presser from Metro soon.
Oh, that's TV, good. So all right. Well, that maybe at least we'll get some public information out as to what they're gonna.
Right.
Hopefully, that means they're gonna be able to lift the lockdown.
I appreciate you, Lou. He said in the chat, Davis, you tell me breathe. I am. I'm Fair. Trying to breathe and stay calm. That's all we can do. That's it. I feel better now that I see this shooter confirmed dead, hearing it. Like, I'm just going to make sure that my daughter gets home, and then we're just going to hear the story from her. It's amazing, the stories that we got just through life and different things. This is going to be a day that she's never going to forget in her life. In her life. She's going to remember the paper. It's probably due on Friday, right? Yeah. Last day of classes, I'm sure. So it's
because finals start next week.
Okay, but I'm sure.
But how do we go? How do we have finals next week?
This is what happens, right? It just kind of everything just moves on.
That's my.
I know.
I get mad about that. I get mad that that's the case. So we just move on. They're like, oh, okay, well, fuck it. Just keep going. No worries.
I know.
Like, I don't have that ability in me to just go and say, throw my hands up and say, yeah, all right. So tomorrow's Thursday, and like, huh? Like we're not going to have a big conversation about this. We're not going to talk. But I mean, look at what happened after Vatech. I mean, they people go to school there, and people, it's just, it happens. Okay. Like I get the mental gymnastics we have to do to live our life. Like you can't obsess over it. You can't sit there and have your life be taken away, because that's what ultimately that person, that murderer, is trying to do. He wants to destroy everything and watch the world burn. So you can't let them win. But the anger that comes from me because of this, that I can't just, like after Route 1, like after the Route 91 shootings, like it fucked me up for weeks. I was there an hour and a half before the shooting started, literally not across the street from it. And I went home, and it ruined me. I couldn't figure out, like, we're not going to do anything. Like, we're not going to do anything. Like we left that space empty for 3 years, I think it was. And now we're putting stuff there. Now that we're having events back being there.
Right.
It's like, whoa, we still don't know why that guy did that. We still don't have a motive for why that guy did that. Like, how in the hell? But we got to keep going. Show goes on. Days go on. We without any resolution, without any thought of like, maybe we should stop as a country and have this conversation about why is this happening so much here.
I told you the story. I told it on the air. I drove by. We were on the way home from California that night from a tournament. We drove by like you an hour and a half before. Exhausted, passed out, woke up. My phone was going crazy at 3:30 in the morning. Crazy. And Jess was like, "What is happening? Why is your phone?" And I said, "I don't know." And I started scrolling and looking, and I'm like, "Get up." I said, "What?" I said, "There's a shooting down on the strip. Get up. Call somebody to make sure. I gotta call these people." And one of the kids that got shot was the boyfriend of was the best friend of one of the kids that we coached, one of the girls. He died, and we had to have practice, and we had to get through it. And every single person on the team knew someone who was down there, working in town for the concert. One girl didn't go because it was going to be too late, and her mom wouldn't let her go, and she was mad at her mom for not letting her go. And it turns out her mom knew that she wasn't there. So, she felt bad for being mad at her mom, like the emotions that we dealt with and got through. And then we got uniforms made with Q. His name was Quentin. We got Q put on our jerseys, wore it the rest of that season. It was brutal, man. That's what I mean. There's nothing that makes any sense. There's just, and it's not just okay to move on, but
we have to.
It's better than just lingering and wallowing in it. You have to do it, but it just has to stop. It has to slow down. It can't be normal. There's nothing. It's not acceptable. This just happens. Oh, this is just this. No, it's not. It's not. So
there's never a better explanation for having children than having your heart living outside of your body than when these things happen.
Right.
Because
right.
You feel like the most vulnerable. There's no way of describing it. Like, it's just every school in town. I mean, I'm guessing they've all gone through some protocols already. Like every elementary school, every high school, like they all go into their own version of this, of like shelter in place until this is over. My mom, not my brother, my mom,
right. Like, yeah, that's when one gets it, they all get it. Yeah.
Are you on campus? Are you at school? What's going on?
Yeah.
What's up? What's happening? Are you there? Is that your school? Yes, this is at our school.
Right.
I'm just, the government is dead. We know that. I want a report that's credible as to the casualties, because there's absolutely been casualties.
100%.
So that's where my heart is at the moment.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate. I got multiple numbers, and they're all bad.
They're all bad.
There's the under is there's just no under.
Right. We hope that it's zero.
One is right.
One dead. One person dead. The shooter. That's it.
Right.
But that's not what's going to get happening here.
No. So,
Sunrise Hospital. The one benefit is Sunrise Hospital, which is a level 1 trauma center, is right around the corner. And so that's where reportedly the victims have been taken.
And it looks like it's complete gridlock.
Yes.
I just saw a video of there's not a car
moving
anywhere down there.
Yeah.
Right now.
You're not. Yeah. I mean,
so
it's bad. I mean, in terms of just, they locked everything down. So,
and this NBA game's coming here tomorrow. There's big things coming on the weekend, right? There's basketball tournaments, there's invitationals, all this stuff. I don't know, man. This is one of those things that we're like, we live in a really cool place. A lot of people come, and a lot of people, come and let their hair down, and it's just a place to come. It's still called the land of sin and all that other crap, city of sin and all that. There's real people behind all this. It still goes on. And I don't know. This is going to be another one. The Super Bowl is going to be here in 2 months. Biggest event, biggest TV show there is. 2 months from.
Yeah, I will say that the response and the speed of it,
phenomenal,
should be commended. Our law enforcement. I mean, I'm looking at some of the video and stuff, like, it's incredible. The amount of not just helicopters, but SWAT and
these guys running in these uniforms and helmets and all this other stuff. I mean, it's mount up. And let's go.
On both sides of I-15, if you know Vegas, I-15 is literally a parking lot. There, people are getting out of their cars and walking
on
the freeway and walking. Like, I'm looking at video.
Recommend doing that. If you guys are watching the show or whatever, listening,
like, if you know somebody who's there, don't do that. Just sit in your car. I get it. It's frustrating. The problem is that when people don't know what's going on,
which sucks.
Yeah. So people are tweeting like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, I can't move. Fuck my life. I'm stuck. What's going on in Vegas? This is not normal. No, it's not normal. Like, no. They've stopped traffic on one of the, this is a major commerce highway.
It's one of the busiest freeways in the United States. That stretch to downtown to, Silverado Ranch, that, the little tiny between Russell and Charleston, how many millions of cars go on there? There's a lot going on. Yeah, I don't know. It's just,
just telling my family to eat, and I'm fine because they keep on.
You have to.
Yeah, they keep on texting saying what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's. I mean, it literally isn't. It's international news now.
Does this affect the perception of Vegas?
Nope.
You don't think so?
If the Route 91 shooting didn't affect the perception of Vegas, this is not.
Well, it did.
For like a moment. For like a minute.
Oh man, it was bad. Like, a lot of people canceled trips, and a lot of people.
Yeah, but it didn't impact it long term.
No, but it took a year.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I think that there were people who were very much, and I mean, the city tried very hard. I mean, to be honest, the Golden Knights really did a ton of the work for the city.
Unbelievable.
I mean, because it kept the memory of those victims alive, honored them in such a wonderful way, but it also allowed people to feel comfortable with Vegas again.
To get galvanized, in a way that was needed. That was a very, you're right. That was a huge part of that. Them owning it and kind of taking it control. So we got guys saying, all right, so it sounds like he's done. He's gone. Whoever was doing this,
he's dead.
Suspect killed. Okay.
One suspect's dead. Ongoing active shooter. Supposedly the police are going building by building on campus.
Oh, okay.
Looking for anybody who may be a participant in this. I just saw a couple of students tweeting about the fact that they blew doors open on a couple buildings to go to the second floor to go find where they were. So it's definitely still an active situation. There are multiple victims. We do know that has been confirmed by multiple reports, but that's all we know. We don't know anything else besides that. The word keeps on coming back to is multiple victims. The shooter is dead, multiple victims, but where it responded somewhere near Beam Hall, it happened, just after or just before noon, which is when I got the first text at 11:51 Pacific time. So it started sometime around there from the Frank and Estella Beam Hall, which is the business school, which is right in the heart of campus. It's, behind the student union. It's behind the bookstore. It's not close to the Thomas and Mack Center. In case you know the campus of UNLV, it's not close to Thomas and Mack. It's kind of right in the middle. It's by.
Were they at home tonight? Were they playing basketball tonight?
No, they're on the road tonight at Dayton. They're playing Dayton, but they're on the road.
Okay.
Because they come home to play in the Henderson event
on
Saturday.
Okay.
So they're not supposed to be at home. But I'm curious. They may not play today. UNLV may not play Dayton tonight. So we'll see what happens with that game.
Right.
If they actually do play that game tonight in Dayton. But yeah, they weren't on campus. They're not here. But what to see? Still waiting. You didn't see anything about the press conference yet, did you? In terms of what's going to happen?
Nothing yet. No.
Okay. Yeah, that's all we have. Is that multiple victims reported? The suspect is dead, and the families, parents are all over Twitter, looking for as much information as possible, trying to tell people my son's fine, my daughter's fine.
Right.
It's a big school. It's a big school, and if there's good news, it's the fact that the city, the police department and law enforcement showed how quickly they can respond to something, because it was fast, and we'll see how long it takes them for the city to get. It happened in the middle of the day, not at rush hour, which could have created even more of a problem if it was like on the changeovers from the strip, morning to evening changeover for the casinos. It could have been even more of a traffic problem down there. So it happened in the middle of the day around lunchtime, which people were out, but the whole entire, everybody is, interesting.
It's hard. I'm watching this now, and it's like the reporter wants to get the information, and the cops are like, listen, we don't know. But like, you don't need to talk to this kid right now. They just broke up
They have him?
No. There was a reporter that wanted to talk to a kid who was on the scene.
Oh, God.
The cop just jumped in and said, stop. And it's
also because it's also because this is where the media actually does itself a disservice, is that if they're watching, they may be looking for information as to like what's going on. The police they don't want them to know anything about what's going on. Don't tell them anything. Tell where we are. There's what we've got, what you've seen, what type of vehicle, what type of snipers, like none of that stuff. Like, don't tell them anything. Like, don't tip them off as to what, in case there is a second person that needs to be dealt with.
Right.
Like, I get that entirely, but I get the reporter's job. The reporter's job is trying to get information out to the public. The police job is to keep public safe, and they supersede a reporter asking a kid a question.
Right.
So that makes total sense to me as to how that needs to be done and how it has to be handled. So, all right. Look, this is terrible. This has been a very different type of show. Obviously, we're not going to air this on Sports Grid tonight, just because I want you to go deal with your family, Dave. Like, go deal with your family. There's nothing. We're not going to do anything today. The show's not. We're not going to do a show today. It can't. We've been on for 90 minutes, and the idea of us talking about betting right now in the wake of this is not. I don't want to say appropriate. Just not really going to happen.
I was going to tell you to take the Clippers. I hope it's better to book it was Clippers.
No, I did not bet the NBA today. Tonight, we did not do that.
It's a weird day anyway in sports. There's only 4 hockey games, and they were tough.
Yeah,
tough games today. NBA is, after last night and what we saw last night, again, pretty intense basketball games. The Knicks stunk, but they always stink. That game flew over. You want to talk about the move being right? They knew the final score of that game. But yeah,
so, it's go deal with your daughter and your family. Go handle that. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow. We thank you for hanging with us. This was not expected, but this is when life comes crashing in, and this is just the way the world, happens. So, but thank you for being here. Please be good to each other. Please don't attack each other, and please don't come after anyone in the chat on this, because it's, right now is not the time. Dave and Matt, back tomorrow. Thank you for being here, guys. We do apologize for the different type of show, but normal show back tomorrow for BvB.
Yes.